So I had a very powerful insight today, and I'm going to share with you in the form of a diagram. And I think this diagram is so visual that you're not likely to forget it. So I'm just going to call it the Billionaire Blueprint. It's not really about money, it's really about showing you the almost infinite possibilities of what you can do with artificial intelligence or AI once you understand this very basic but very insightful diagram. So I'm gonna basically just create it and I'm going to explain to you. So we basically have two sides of this diagram. So the left hand side, or the left hand triangle, and the right hand triangle, and in the middle we're going to have a rectangle which basically represents the capabilities of artificial intelligence. And so hopefully this diagram can show you, what you should be working on if you want to leverage artificial intelligence for your career, for your business, for your finances, and for your personal life. So on the left hand side, we have what I would call self-knowledge, and this is composed of your values, your goals, your purpose, your mission, your visions. And on the right hand side, we're going to have the output of artificial intelligence. And output is a very general word, but it can be reports, it can be business plans, it can be procedures, can be ebooks. Ebooks can be video courses, webinars. It can even be business organizations, etc. So this is ultimately what AI will enable us to do. And with the passage of time, this rectangle is going to grow. We know it's going to grow because $1 billion is being invested into AI every day. So the rectangle is going to grow. And because it is growing, this output will also grow, right? And it's going to be generated faster, better, cheaper. So the problem really, or the constraint, is on the left-hand side. And this is where people have to develop greater clarity about who they are and what they would like to be, whom they would like to become. And so this is the diagram I wanted to share with you, and this is basically where people have to focus their attention, because no matter how AI develops, no matter how powerful it becomes, it's not going to help you to get to know yourself. It's not possible for AI to get into your heart, to get into your brain, into your mind, into your soul, to know what kind of person you want to become. So think of AI as a kind of airplane that can fly you to any country in the world, but you have to specify the destination. You have to specify where you want to go, and that's the purpose of this left hand side. Now let me try to explain why I call this the Billionaire Blueprint. So depending on the clarity that you have regarding yourself, your ideas, your mission, your purpose, you're going to generate a proportional amount of output. So let's say that you know yourself to this degree, and we're going to represent it with this piece of the pie. So this is your level of knowledge, what you really want in life, right? And so because it represents this tiny sliver of the available self-knowledge space, you will generate this amount of output, or to be blunt about it, this amount of money. And that's not because AI cannot produce more money for you. This is your potential. But that's because you are limited by your self-knowledge. You might not know what your values are, or you might not have goals that are big enough, right? So your values might not be clear. Your goals might be too small. Your purpose is not defined. You might not have a mission in life, which is okay if you're a teenager, but after you're 20 or 30, you should have a sense of what your mission in life is, why you were put on earth. You might not have a clear vision about what you want to do in life, and therefore you have this small component, and that results in a very small output. but it's still good, right? You can still do something with AI. So the problem is not the rectangle here, it's the small amount of knowledge or self-knowledge clarity, that you have. But that's okay, you're going to increase in clarity. And so what's going to happen is that as you increase your clarity, you're going to be able to increase the output from AI. So let me just represent it with, hold on. I'm going to represent it with this line here. So this is where you have greater self-knowledge clarity. So it's not this anymore. Whoop, it's not this anymore. So this is a little bit greater. Now, if you continue, you would have greater self-knowledge or bigger goals. So we're going to represent it with this third line. So now we can eliminate this line. So you can see that as you increase your self-knowledge over here, you're going to be able to create a corresponding amount in both quantity and quality of output. And this in business, we can represent it as the dollar sign, but it's not just about money. You're going to have a bigger impact because you're going to use AI to create nonprofit organizations. You can use AI to create fundraising campaigns. So your impact here is going to be bigger because you have a greater sense of who you are and whom you want to become. And this is what I referred in 2018 in a conference on AI at Concordia University. I referred to this as clarity. And like I said, this portion, this clarity, this self-knowledge, it's not something that AI is likely to be able to help you with. This is your inner work. This is your homework. This is where you have to work on yourself. But fortunately, it's very pleasant work. You can just talk to your friends, your family, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, in order to figure out what kind of person do you want to become in this life? Because there are very little and very few limits today with AI. So AI, once again, is this rectangle, and it's going to grow, in size and capabilities. So that's not where the problem is. The problem is the self-knowledge that you have. Is it limited or is it expanding? And so in my case, for example, in terms of values, I value a lot of things. I value calligraphy. I value education for children. I value the women's struggle. I want women to be financially free. I value a lot of things, and because I have a lot of values, a lot of missions, a lot of goals, then I'm able to capitalize on AI to create a lot of money, a lot of impact, a lot of influence. So that's what I wanted to share with you. This is a very draft diagram, but it's very visual. It shows you that your work is over here, the inner work. This is the output generated by AI, but the input here has to be very good because, as you know, garbage in, garbage out. So AI is here and it's going to keep growing. You don't have to do anything about AI. It's going to grow almost like exponentially because the financial incentives are there, right? Like even governments are investing money into AI. So you don't have to worry about AI. You don't have to worry so much about the output of AI. But what you have to focus on is clarifying what it is that you want. What is your dream in life? What is your purpose? How do you define the good life? How do you define a life that is worth living? Right? Imagine yourself on your deathbed and you look back at your life. What kind of life do you wish that you had lived? Well, now right? You go back in time and, it's 2025 and this is the perfect time for you to clarify, all of these aspects of yourself so that you can leverage AI. Because if your self-knowledge is great, then the output will be great. But if your self-knowledge is very little, you know very little about yourself, you haven't spent a lot of time in solitude or a lot of introspection, and you don't know what you believe in, you don't know what your goals are, you don't know what is your purpose, you don't know what is your mission, what you believe in, you don't have a vision for your life, then the output from AI is going to be very small, very insignificant compared to what it could be. Now, it can still be great. Somebody who has very little self-knowledge, for example, a person in his early 20s, can still make a lot of money, but the amount of money that he's making is very small relative to the potential that he could be making if he developed greater self-knowledge. So anyways, guys, thanks for being here. Just wanted to share with you this insight while it's still fresh in my mind. If you have questions, please put them in the comments, or if you have ideas, suggestions, I'd love to hear them, and I'll talk to you more in the next live stream.